It's done. It's over. Spider-Man is out of the MCU for a very long time. We don't know how long. Apparently, talks broke down between Disney and Sony, and that's it. Spider-Man's done. He is done. He's out of the MCU, and he's moving on to greener pastures. I don't know. It depends on your point of view on the situation. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, do a follow-up on the Spider-Man situation with Sony, and we're going to talk about what the future of the MCU might hold. Some news outlets saying that there's a legit replacement for Spider-Man. She's definitely gonna come into her own when Spider-Man's out of the picture, right? So this is Neon. This is Clownfish TV. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We hit 57,000 subs last week. I think we're 57,000. I don't know. It's been really awesome. We're hoping to hit 100,000 by the end of the year. That would be amazing. Like Spider-Man. So thank you so much for the support. All right, CBR.com. Sony says door is closed. Door is closed. Game over. Endgame. Spider-Man is out of the MCU. It's closed on Spider-Man the MCU for now. What a way to drop it, right? During D23, when Disney's promoting the hell out of the Spider-Man ride and talking about the MCU with big posters of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. How embarrassing for Disney. Spider-Man fans eager to see the wall crawler triumphantly return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe after Sony Pictures and Marvel Studios severed ties a few weeks back will have to wait a little longer. Might be longer than that. Like maybe a lot longer. Sony Pictures CEO, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name. We're going to call him Tony V. Tony V recently confirmed that for the moment the door is closed on Spider-Man's MCU future. Rather, Sony will push forward with its own cinematic universe focused largely on Spider-Man characters, reports Variety from the publication's own Entertainment and Technology Summit. The studio has already started laying the groundwork for the new cinematic universe in the form of 2018's surprise blockbuster, Venom. Yeah, I like Venom quite a bit. I liked it quite a bit. I really didn't expect to. Maybe it's because I had no expectations for it, but I actually like Venom quite a bit. Sony's also in the process of producing a film based on the Spider-Man villain Morbius, starring Jared Leto. Not excited about that, but who knows. The report also claims that there are 5 or 6 Spider-Man television series in production, though whether that includes series already on the air was not clarified. Why did the Marvel Studios deal fall apart? Money. That's the short answer, money. Tony V was a little more tight-lipped on the subject, but let it be known that there are no hard feelings between Sony and Marvel. We had a great run with Feige on Spider-Man movies. He said, we tried to see if there was a way to work it out. The Marvel people are terrific people. We have great respect for them, but on the other hand, we have some pretty terrific people of our own. Kevin didn't do all the work. So maybe Disney's trying to take more credit for Spider-Man and Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man than what they actually had given. Who knows? They pointed out the success of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Amazon's The Boys, produced by Sony, as proof that the studio is capable of going solo in the superhero genre. Spider-Man was fine before the event movies, did better with the event movies, and now that we have our own universe, he will play off the other characters as well. I think we're pretty capable of doing what we have to do here. Are they going to reboot? Apparently they are keeping Tom Holland. Are they going to reboot? Because it's going to be kind of weird to never mention the Avengers, to never mention the Snap. I personally want to see Spider-Man explore his own universe. That includes Venom, that includes the Sinister Six. These are things I've wanted to see for years, we almost got there and it didn't happen. But the MCU version of Spider-Man is very, very dependent on the Avengers. He's basically a junior Avenger. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens, how they move forward, especially with the cliffhanger ending of Far From Home. The Sony CEO did, however, drop a cryptic hint that the wall crawler may return to the MCU fold at some point in the future, later acknowledging that Sony is aware of the ongoing fan backlash. It's a long life. When news of the split first surfaced, MCU fans were understandably taken aback. The fictional hero was, after all, just coming off the highly successful Far From Home, which not only teased Peter Parker's Iron Man-like role in the MCU's future, but also outed his secret identity to the world. Yeah, how are they going to deal with that now? How are they going to deal with that now? They're not even going to, I mean, and that's the thing too, like, I think it's kind of Sony's fault too, because they let Spider-Man become so tethered to the Avengers that his basically his origin, his costume, his villains, he owes to the Avengers or Avengers technology, or, you know, he's shaped by what happened in, you know, the events of the Avengers movies, you know, Civil War. I think the better way to do this, now, of course, you know, they weren't planning on splitting like this, I don't think, but the better way to do it would have been to keep Spider-Man mostly separate from the other Marvel characters, and then just bring him in as like a surprise guest, I think, in the Avengers movies, but make sure it was very clear he had his own thing going on. It's going to be really weird. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be weird. You know, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, hey, somebody's got to tell Disney no. And I think this is really what it's about. Disney wanted a ridiculous amount of money. They wanted all the Infinity Stones. So they got the Fantastic Four back. They got the X-Men back, but they lost Spider-Man. They lost Spider-Man. That's it's not going to sit well with some people. But that's okay. We have a potential replacement for Spider-Man already. And is the insanely popular never before canceled Ms. Marvel. She's the neighborhood hero we need. A lot of pop culture outlets saying that we need Ms. Marvel to take Spider-Man's place. Ms. Marvel needs to take Spider-Man's place. So most people don't even know who Ms. Marvel is. And I'm not throwing shade at Ms. Marvel. I read the first couple of graphic novels and they were okay. I mean, I've heard that, you know, the series got a little weirder, a little more political after that, but the first couple of collections were actually pretty solid. I thought they were decent. But she's not Spider-Man. You know, she's not going to be Spider-Man. I just don't see this happening. With Spider-Man leaving the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the role of friendly neighborhood superhero has opened up, and Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan, is the perfect candidate to step into that position, says Hypeable and like 5 or 6 other news outlets. We're not saying, of course, that Ms. Marvel is a direct replacement for Tom Holland's web slinger, or that he needs to be replaced, but rather that many of the heroes of the Marvel Cinematic Universe have their sights on a grand stage. Instead of focusing on threats to the planet, Spider-Man was one of the few characters outside of Marvel's Netflix taking care of their local community and neighborhood. Not so much in the MCU movies. He was basically a junior Avenger, and they just kind of gave him busy work in his local community. It's an aspect of the MCU that deserves some focus and attention, particularly as it transitions into Phase 4. Phase 4, the phase of the MCU where I think a lot of people, we're going to lose a lot of people in Phase 4 because all the characters that we cared about, Iron Man is dead, Captain America is retired, Thor has become a lazy fat ass, Hawkeye and Wanda and Vision are going off into TV, and you know that leaves us with Smart Hulk, right? Hipster Hulk, nobody cares. We're getting She-Hulk. Well, we had Spider-Man. We could bank on Spider-Man being the figurehead of the MCU, which is what was implied very heavily. It was implied very heavily in the last Spider-Man movie that Spider-Man would be the new face of the MCU, as should be. Spider-Man should be the face of Marvel. He was Marvel's mascot for many, many years, and he's out of the picture. So we get stuck with the B-listers, the D-listers, the Eternals, and Ms. Marvel, and all of these other characters that nobody really cares about. They don't have the brand recognition that the other characters have. And, you know, look, sometimes that works. Sometimes it works. Guardians of the Galaxy worked. I don't think it's going to work this time. I think a lot of people are going to lose interest in the MCU going forward without the core Avengers, without Spider-Man. So, enter Kamala Khan, president of Marvel Studios. Kevin Feige announced at D23 she's coming to Disney+. She-Hulk and Moon Knight are also coming. But where Peter Parker and Spider-Man focused on New York, specifically Queens, Kamala is based out of New Jersey, meaning that though Spider-Man will solely be the property of Sony moving forward, the two will be able to coexist in the minds of Marvel fans. Yeah, in the minds of Marvel fans, but he's not actually in the MCU anymore. Also provides a new location and fresh faces to explore. Jersey, as Kamala finds her footing as a hero on her own turf. She was always positioned as a kind of everyman hero in the comics. To give a little backstory, like I said, the first couple of volumes of the graphic novel, I thought she was all right. And now she's basically, as I understand it, a sidekick to Carol Danvers, again, a character that's been polarizing. I don't know how people are going to feel about having a junior Carol Danvers running around. Depends on how they handle her, I guess. But Kamala has many aspects to her character that a geek-centric audience will immediately love and connect to, which is that Kamala at her very core is one of us. She's a fan at heart of superheroes, and especially Captain Marvel, who we would not be shocked to see make a cameo at some point during the series, and has a vibrant and enthusiastic personality when it comes to the things that she loves. What is it with all the young Marvel female characters, the new characters, well, newer characters, even Squirrel Girl, like she's a geek too. They all have to be geek girls. I don't understand it. I liked it when some of the X-Men, some of the women in the X-Men, the kids, the teenagers in the X-Men were like complete badasses at like age 14. I thought that was kind of cool. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to the MCU without Spider-Man. You know, I mean, they existed obviously before, but we don't have Tony Stark. We don't have Captain America. We've got a pale imitation of Thor. I don't think anybody's going to care. I think Phase 4 is going to be do or die for the MCU. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.